Do you have an idea of what the compliance rate is across the HSE?
It's definitely improved since last year. It's in the 65, I think 66%.
So 33% of people in the HSE who have a SIPO obligation haven't complied with it. I mean, if we as public representatives didn't comply with our SIPO obligation to declare our interests, so 1 in 3, if I walk into the HSE today, 1 in 3 people haven't bothered filling out the form.
So definitely it's an area which we are improving on. And yes, we accept it is an issue.
In terms of spend, right, and non-compliant procurement. So I just want to define, non-compliant procurement is essentially where the rules aren't followed for procurement. Is that correct?
That's correct. Essentially, everywhere the EU public procurement rules, which are designed to ensure value and transparency and are necessarily complex.
You do a self-assessment of your procurement where in 2024, you reviewed 29,012 invoices above 25,000 euros. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any checks in place for consistent invoices coming in at, say, 24,000 or 23,000? Do you have any checks for any anomalies like that?
So we have financial regulations, Deputy, that require people not to what's called split purchases to try to avoid any of the various controls, including that 25,000 euro threshold. But the reality is, in advance of IFMS, we haven't had a single system and we haven't had the capacity to actually monitor non-pay purchase orders at the level which we want.
Stephen, do you believe that there are companies out there that are invoicing the HSE less than 25,000 so they go under the radar?
No, Deputy, it's not in their interest. The risk is that people, in determining whether they need to go to a particular type of procurement process, are estimating that a need would be lower than the threshold typically.
But it is in their interest if they weren't properly procured.
Not in terms of invoicing, Deputy.
But if they were non-compliant in their procurement and then they come in under that amount.
No, Deputy, that's a matter for the organisation, not for the supplier. Once we've ordered something from the supplier will deliver the product, they will invoice for the product, and if we've received the product we've ordered, we'll pay for it. You're
right in that it is a matter for the organisation. But if the individual in the organisation is a related party or connected to any of these companies, it is in their interest to go under the radar.
I think, Deputy, if it's a related party, there's a whole list of possible conflicts. But if I could just say, Deputy, fundamentally, where... I
know there's a whole list of conflicts, but you don't have a register of declarable interests.
We do, Deputy. People have a requirement to fill out an annual statement, an annual SIPO declaration.
Okay, so we had Beaumont Hospital here last week, and they confirmed to me that 25% of their consultants haven't complied with their SIPO obligations. Do you have an idea of what the compliance rate is across the HSE?
It's definitely improved since last year. It's in the 65, I think 66%.
So 33% of people in the HSE who have a SIPO obligation haven't complied with it. I mean, if we as public representatives didn't comply with our SIPO obligation to declare our interests, so 1 in 3, if I walk into the HSE today, 1 in 3 people haven't bothered filling out the form.
So Deputy, it's an area which we are improving on, and yes, we accept it is an issue.
What are you doing to improve that?
Every year, Deputy, it has increased in the last 3 years. One of the colleagues will probably have the actual figures, and there's a concerted effort between our communications team and our HR team in order to drive up compliance and maximise that compliance. And as I said, it's up from, I think, mid-50s last year to 63–64% this year. But you're absolutely right, it needs to be driven to 1%.
I think that is scandalous, because if 1 in 3 people in the HSE aren't doing their SIPO obligations, then that means they could potentially have a declarable interest or a conflict of interest of which they are not declaring, and hence why I'm trying to say that non-compliant procurement, which I think accounted for over 9% of your procurement spend, am I correct in saying that?
That's correct.
Yeah, so 9% of your procurement spend, and your procurement spend is massive and has ballooned in the last 3 to 4 years.